LA Knight fans, we got to start with you guys again. I want you to know it's over. It's never been more over. You thought it was over before. It's over now. If you thought there was no hope before, we're basically waiting on the pink slip at this point, dog. I mean, they ragdolled this guy. I don't know when the last time I've seen a babyface get treated like that on TV and nobody helped him. Not one living soul. I mean, even when they wrote Ricochet off TV, it wasn't this bad. They are trying to teach that man a lesson, and he ain't learning it. He ain't learning it. He don't get it. Episode of Monday Night Raw from December the 8th. I think they did about 8,000 people in the building. I don't even remember where they were. We're going to go through the show, as usual. I just wanted to get that off my chest about LA Knight. Your boy cooked. Gunther came out, put a clock on John Cena. Believes John Cena is the greatest sports entertainer of all time, but believes that Gunther himself is the greatest pro wrestler of all time, and he plans to do something nobody's ever done before, and that's break John Cena's spirit. I think we've heard this before. I believe Bryan Danielson or Kevin Owens or CM Punk and all of these guys pretty much said the same thing, that Cena's not really all that good. And look, I'm not going to go into why Gunther shouldn't be the guy. I already went through that. Let's talk about this new conversation that I've seen pop up. The talk that Gunther is going to make John Cena submit and is going to be the definitive defeat of John Cena is that the guy whose gimmick was never give up is going to give up. He's going to quit. And I think you could do that. Depends on how mad you want people to be. I mean, that's the question. Do you want people to go home disappointed, or do you want people to go home pissed off? Because if you want people to go home disappointed, John Cena loses. John Cena fights hard, comes up short. People go home disappointed. He lost his final match. That sucks. You want people pissed. He taps out in the middle of the ring to Gunther. To a degree, people will say breaking the character like John Cena would do wonders for Gunther. This is a positive. And John Cena himself, at one point during this podcasting spree he went on, I believe he was talking to Bill Simmons, and he was talking about the creative of killing Super Cena so that Brock can get over. And the plan being that now Brock has more equity, and the next guy, the next face of the company, can be the guy who can beat Brock Lesnar. And he says, basically, I sacrificed myself, to make Roman, because Roman was the guy. The company had already decided Roman Reigns was going to be the guy. And that's a lot of foresight in order to see that. And when you realize the amount of effort that they put into Brock Lesnar, Brock was already a project from 2002. They really wanted something out of Brock. They had Brock beat The Rock. Brock beat Hulk Hogan. Brock kicked the shit out of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. They had really, really wanted some stuff out of Brock. They had him kick the shit out of Triple H. He even beat him in a couple of forgettable matches. But when Brock beat Undertaker at WrestleMania, that flipped the switch. He's a completely different character on a completely different level now. He was already a main event guy and a draw and all that, but now he's in the mythical, rarefied air. Who is he gonna lift into that? And the choice was Roman Reigns. They didn't pick somebody from anybody else from that era. And they've tried it, with other guys. They've given Seth Rollins wins over Brock. They had Drew McIntyre beat Brock. I think they had Bobby Lashley beat Brock. I don't remember how those matches went. But the most memorable series of matches since he beat John Cena was Brock versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, the first one, if I remember correctly, where, Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank, Brock probably should have won. Roman probably should have won that match, because that was the best match they ever had, to be quite honest. Every other match failed to live up to that match. But the point was that the company had earmarked a top guy and said, this is our project. This Roman Reigns kid, he's our project. He's the guy that we're going to go with in the future. Let's set up this dragon for him to slay. And eventually he'll get there and he'll win it. And it'll be a big deal. And he'll be a big star afterwards. That was the plan. The plan was, okay, everybody loves Undertaker. Everybody loves the streak. But he's got to pass it forward. People were pissed when the streak was broken. I still don't watch that match. Not because it's not a good match either. It's not, though. It's not a good match. But I don't watch it because it tears you up emotionally. On that same card, though, they had Daniel Bryan win the world title, so the people went home happy. All right? The Yes movement was fully fulfilled. The Yes prophecy was fulfilled. So people went home with a lot to talk about in WrestleMania 30. You don't have a similar situation here. In this situation, if John Cena submits to Gunther, you create crazy amount of heat for Gunther. You're going to have to then make him super protected. Which means if he retires John Cena by submission, making John Cena quit, then there's no good reason for Gunther to not win the Royal Rumble. There's no good reason for Gunther to not face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania and win the WWE Championship. And then for him to be the champion for like 8, 9, 10, 12 months. That's how you have to do this in order for it to make sense. And as a guy who can appreciate storytelling, if they decide to go that route and John Cena submits, he taps out, he gives up, you need to have somebody in the rear view mirror that you can say, this is our next big hero. This is going to be the guy that's going to beat the unbeatable Gunther, the guy who retired Bill Goldberg, the guy who retired John Cena, the guy who beat the hell out of Cody Rhodes and won the title and has been champion for a year or something like that. And it needs to be a young guy. Outside of Brian Breaker, I don't see them doing this with anybody. I don't see that kind of preparation with anybody. Obafemi, no. Javon Evans, no. Carmelo Hayes, forget about it. I don't see them doing that with anybody. There was already whispers about Roman Reigns when the thing with Super Cena getting killed by Brock Lesnar. There was already whispers about Roman Reigns being the guy. At that point in time, it was already, the wheels was already rolling. There's no wheels rolling here. As of right now, Brian Breaker is a heel. This is going to be a big, big issue because Raw is so heel dominant. And this factors into what happened at LA Knight on this show, is that there's no baby faces. You could just pound and beat guys for minutes on end and nobody does anything. All the most over guys on this show, with the exception of Jey Uso, who they put it back in a tag team, is a heel. Dominic Mysterio is a heel. There needs to be something. And I was thinking about this too. As I watched the last John Cena vignette, who's the next John Cena? Who's going to be the guy that's going to be the standard bearer for the WWE in the future? Please don't tell me it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes and Gunther are the same age. It can't be him. I know Cody would like for it to be him. I know maybe Triple H wants it to be Cody. I know maybe Nick Khan wants it to be Cody. I know that the Cody fans would like for it to be Cody, but it can't be Cody because Cody is 40. There needs to be a new John Cena, a new Roman Reigns, a new face of the company, a new standard bearer to go forward. If you want to keep Cody in this spot temporarily because he's good for PR and, he looks nice in a suit, fine. But you need to have a young talent that's primed and ready to go, that's over with the audience, that the audience believes in, and people say when he gets his shot, he's going to kill it. I'm not seeing that. So all of this heat that they could consider putting on Gunther is going to be definitely problematic. And it's just going to be like breaking the streak and the show goes off the air. Some people might like that. And they may say, man, what a hell of a finish that was. But for other people, they're going to be like, ugh. Terrible taste in my mouth. This is the shits. And there's nothing booked for Saturday night's main event where you can reverse this. We're all assuming this is the main event. And if you're going to book anything after this, what can you do to distract it? And that's one positive thing Vince used to try to do. Is that if he did something that the fans hated, he would almost try to, jangle some keys somewhere else so that you'll be distracted momentarily. Like the truly shitty WWE moments in recent years were when Vince was fucking around with the main event. Because then nothing is coming after it. So you end the show on a really, really, really low note. Like the Seth Rollins Fiend Hell in a Cell thing. That had me raging. Because there's just no way around it. It sucked. If they'd have did that horse shit at the beginning of the show, and then did something great at the end, jangle some keys. Hey, don't worry about that over there. We fucked that up. But we got something going on over here. That's how, when you're engaging, and it's what I said before about the positive and negatives, you give people what you want, but you have to give them something that they want too. You have to jangle some keys sometimes. Sometimes you got to have that rattle. You got to play the airplane. Open up. That's what they need to do. Whatever you got planned, if you got anything other than John Cena 1, 2, 3, or John Cena putting him in the STF and Gunther taps out, if you got anything other than that planned, you need to start jangling keys. You need to do something. You got to distract the kids. Put on Cocomelon. Do something. Because if everybody sit here and watch this shit, and John Cena's final night is ruined, you might actually lose people. This is a very delicate thing you got going here, because there's already people who don't like the fact that you're putting him in the ring with Gunther. They're already not going to like that. If you then decide we're going to have him tap out, Cena doesn't care. He's going to do it because he's business. He understands the business. Gunther will, of course, appreciate it because he understands the business. But there's going to be a whole lot of other people who are incredibly emotional, don't quite understand the business, and they're going to flip the fuck out. And a part of me, obviously, am all for that because I love the tears. But there's a bigger part of me who says, I don't really want to live in a WWE that is like that. That this thing has been botched from the beginning. I'm not going to go through it. I promise. And for it to end on that note, I would not be happy. I would have to join. I probably wouldn't join the tears because I probably wouldn't be that mad. And since I'm already kind of planted it in my head that might happen and talking about it before it happens, I'm kind of getting used to the idea. And I'm not even a super Cena fan, even though I am a John Cena fan. I got over my hatred of John Cena around 2011 or something like that. We started working with the guys I watched in Ring of Honor and, showed them some respect and everything. This is one of those times where we probably could have used John Cena burying Gunther on the mic or something. But I'm just putting it out there, man. They might do that. They might do that, and you can have Gunther win. Gunther can put him in a chokehold and put him to sleep, I guess. But if he taps out, we're in a bad situation, and they're going to get the wrong kind of heat. They're playing with fire. Io Sky defeated Kairi Sane. We're hamsters on a wheel when it comes to these women. We're just doing the same thing over and over again. Kairi Sane versus Asuka. Asuka versus Io. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. We're just on a hamsters on a wheel, bro. Nothing's happening. Logan Paul wants somebody to do something about Rey Mysterio. Then he decides he wants to earn the respect of the Bron, so he's going to do it himself. So he attacked Rey Mysterio before Rey's match with Finn Balor. The hooded figure attacked Rey Mysterio and fled. And then Logan Paul punched Rey Mysterio with the brass knuckles. This led to LA Knight coming out. LA Knight cut a promo, said he wanted to fight Logan Paul. We got that for the main event. Logan Paul wins when the hooded figure jumped in the ring again and attacked alongside the Vision. So it's essentially a 5-on-1 situation. After the match, LA Knight gets speared. Then he gets tsunamied. And they pretty much drag his lifeless corpse from the ring. While Bron Breakker's in his ring cutting a great promo, LA Knight fights back to his feet heroically almost. And I'm thinking, okay, this is not bad. I'm kind of sick of the Vision standing tall at the end of the show, but alright, not bad. Logan Paul and Bronson Reed, they go to the back and they continue to pummel LA Knight. Just continuously pummeling him. Nobody tries to help him. I guess security technically tries to help him. No babyface has tried to help him. It's like Bayley said, nobody watches the show anymore. They have their match and then they leave. So there's nobody back there. Because who stayed to watch the main event? Hell, I barely stayed to watch the main event. They put him through a table, man. A Slim Jim table at that. They put him through a Slim Jim table in the back. They're getting ready to walk off. LA Knight is still alive. So they came back, beat him up again, and then gave him a tsunami on top of a hood of a car. The steady escalation of fuck you to LA Knight is unreal. Unreal. Not only did this guy get replaced at War Games, he was in the smack dab in the middle of the goddamn feud with Division and got replaced by Roman Reigns. Now they took him out just to throw him back in it, and then they killed him by having him get crushed on the roof of a car. My God. Well, I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to tell you how, well, it's better than being Max Dupree. I bet it is. I bet it is. Look, man. I'm tired of the Vision. I'm tired of them standing tall at the end of every show. There needs to be some faces with some goddamn soul around here, some fire. WWE is a babyface territory, and Triple H is changing that. It's becoming heels over all the time. Heels over. Too much. Too many times the heels are going over. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you start taking account of how many times Raw has ended with the heels going over, even if it's just them beating up the babyface and leaving them laying in the middle of the ring at the end of the show, it increased tenfold since Triple H took over. Sometimes I would say the baby faces are too strong in the heels. This was a Vince problem, especially in 2019, maybe 2021. You would have the Superman character, your Bianca Belairs, and you can't do anything to keep them down. You run them over with a truck to get right back up, and they're fighting, and you're like, my God, what the hell? How can any heel compete and get any heat in this situation? But now you got the reverse, where now you got a situation where no babyface can get the fans behind them, because the heels always have the number advantage, because there's always a faction of heels. They're always jumping people, and they always fucking win. Nobody ever overcomes the faction. Or if they do, it comes across like it was lucky and not because the babyface is a real badass who can handle himself. So LA Knight got his shit kicked in. I will say Bron Breakker cut a great promo. I don't like the content of these promos where it's like, I don't want to fight that guy. I want to fight this one. He don't want to fight new nice guy CM Punk. He wants to fight CM Punk from 2011. Bro, you know how long ago 2011 was? It was almost 15 years ago. He ain't got that kind of soul. Ain't got that kind of fire, that kind of passion. That man is grieving a dog. He's cooked, alright? It's over. But Mongo, pets are so important to people. They're like members of your family. It's a dog. Alright? It is a dog. Dogs die. Pets die. I've had pets. I've had goldfish die. I've had cats die. I've had dogs die. I didn't get 2 weeks off because my dog died. Hey, Dad, remember my dog that fucking died in the backyard? I shouldn't have to go to school for 2 weeks. He looked at me like I was out of my fucking mind. I'm 9 years old. This motherfucker's almost 50. And he takes 2 weeks off because his dog died? Come on, man. R.I.P. to Larry. That being said, Bron Breakker, great kid. I like that guy. I was right about him, by the way. I saw it coming. When they was doing multicolored NXT, I saw it coming. And he's a really good promo, too. They dare give us a War Raiders vignette. I guess they had to remind everybody who the War Raiders were. And this was a tag team championship match. Dragon Lee and AJ Styles versus the War Raiders. The highlight of this match, of course, was Dragon Lee trying to pick up fat ass Ivar. And his legs kept giving out from underneath him. Ivar's got like a surgically repaired neck. And I'm thinking Dragon Lee's going to need a surgically repaired neck, because he kept picking that big fool up and tumbling over. And I'm like, man, whatever you was trying to do, it is not that important. I promise you, it's not that important. It's okay, Dragon Lee. I still love you. AJ Styles, of course, hits the phenomenal forearm and they win. Why do we need the War Raiders? What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing here? What are they here for? And then no feud, no storyline. They just pop up and get a title shot. Crazy. And speaking of popping up and getting a title shot, they decided to give Leon Slater and Javon Evans a showcase match on Saturday night's main event. I'm all for this. Oh, Mongo, why are you so excited for matches with no story on the Saturday night's main event? Don't you think that there should be a story between Alba Femi and Cody Rhodes? Shouldn't there be a story here? No! No! There should not be a story here. I don't want a long-term feud between Alba Femi and Cody Rhodes. I don't want that match to happen. No, I don't need a storyline between Soruka and Bayley. No, I don't need a storyline here either. The storyline is John Cena's final match. And John Cena wants to showcase young talent from NXT. They're doing what John Cena asks for them to do. That's it. This show is non-canon. It does not fucking matter what happens on this show. I can tell you, outside of the Cena final match, nothing else is really all that important. Alright? They're just filling the card up, showcasing some talent. That's it. I don't care. It's not a pay-per-view. Alright? This is a Saturday night's main event. And the big draw of this show is Cena and Gunther. They botched that match. I don't give a fuck at what else you put on it. This match is just fun. Do fun stuff. Because Gunther and John Cena is not going to be fun. But having these guys be showcased on John Cena's last match is perfectly fine. Just like when Ric Flair had his last match and there were a bunch of people like Andrade and Jay Lethal that were showcased on that show. And then there was a bunch of guys in the mid card. It was fine. Same thing here. It's fine. We'll worry about the rest of that shit on Monday. You know, it's not gonna matter. The Usos are back together. They got in the face of the New Day and compared their feud with the New Day to Ali and Frazier and Rock and Austin. They're playing too much. You're playing too much. So the Usos being back together, there's everybody running around saying Jey Uso's singles push is over. Not so fast. Not so fast. Don't say that. Don't say that. This might be temporary because they need tag teams right now. The tag team side of things is a mess. All right. So they need help when it comes to tag teams. Throwing the Usos in there for a couple of months while you prepare to do something else seems like a nice little patch on things. I don't think this is long term. Because Jey Uso sells so much merchandise by himself, I don't really think that the Usos as a long-term project. I think this is part of Jay's story. That he's going to try with the Usos. It's not going to work. He's going to lose. And then he's probably going to have further character development. I'm not going to say a heel turn, because that might be a bit of a stretch. But further character development. And I think him going back to his safety blanket of a tag team is meant to tell you that he's very frustrated with where his singles career is. And it comes across from the previous week. I believe it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago when he talked about the championships look better on Roman rather than him. But I really don't care to see New Day in any form versus the Usos versus anybody else either. I really don't care. Stephanie Becker, she came out and her promo was like 90% about Nikki Bella and putting Nikki Bella over and how great she was. Again, it feels, not only Stephanie Becker sometimes looks like a mannequin, like she doesn't really have much of a facial expression, and when she talks, because English is not her first language, is very stilted. Nikki Bella, you world champion, Hall of Famer, 15-year legacy. I look up to you. Like, I don't believe none of that you just said. I don't believe a word of it. Nikki comes out and demands a rematch, promptly gets her shit kicked in by Raquel Rodriguez, who lawn-darted her into the ring post. So, heel Nikki Bella means nothing on this roster. As she shouldn't. She's pointless. Raquel Rodriguez gets into Stephanie Becker's face and starts cutting Spanish promos on her. And then says pretty much anytime, any place, she's ready and she's next. I'm all for this. I like Raquel Rodriguez. She's been doing some really great work lately since she came back from her skin thing. Kevin Nash changed her life. I'll never forget that. That is amazing. How somebody indirectly gives you advice. He didn't like call her on the phone or anything. He criticized her on his podcast. And she was like, got it. And started immediately implementing what he said. And her stock went up tremendously afterwards. So Raquel Rodriguez is a credible opponent. She's somebody who she's lost, but she hasn't lost a lot recently. And she has really raised her game up. So I'm all the way with Raquel Rodriguez versus Stephanie Becker. So they go back to the Judgment Day locker room. I'm about ready to throw everything out of my house. So Liv Morgan is like, oh, I didn't know that you wanted to be a women's world champion. And Raquel's like, well, I didn't know I needed to ask you. And Liv is like, oh, you didn't have to. Just saying, didn't know you was interested. What? She works there. Why wouldn't she be interested? Then Liv starts bothering Roxanne. She wants to be a tag team champion with Roxanne. That's the plan. They're slow rolling this thing. Clearly there's going to be some heat between Roxanne and Liv, but they're going to take forever to tell that story. I mean, literally forever. It takes Raw too long to develop anything. I swear to God. So, Ruka was in the crowd, just watching Bayley, who hadn't done anything. She didn't do nothing. I did see a lot of pictures from Bayley. She had a little training camp for women over the weekend, and John Cena, I think, was the only man that showed up. It was a women's only camp. So it seems like she's already setting up her career. When she's done with WWE, she's going to be like a trainer or something. She said she was going to be a producer and that she's been doing some producing, which shocked me because I didn't figure Pam for an authority figure. So I was like, that's very nice. Very sweet. They're already starting to tell Bayley, look at the clock. It's almost up for you. But this was pointless. I don't know. We want to be tag team champions, so I'm going to be on your side for a singles match, I guess. The final thing I guess we can discuss here is the Maxine Dupree vignette, where she's now tearing through trainees. I mean, she's mastering that ankle lock. Next! And she's taking them down. Next! And then Natalya gets in the ring herself. They roll around for a bit, and then Maxine makes Natalya tap out. Oh, I'm sorry, Natty. And I said to myself, like, man, Natty is such a jabroni. She is such a thorough jabroni that she tapped out in the vignette. This character has not even made it to WWE main roster television, and she has already tapped out. Bro, look, pull up a chair, man. Let me tell you something. Natalya has got to be one of the most generous females in the history of the business. She's one of the most generous wrestlers in the business. And that's part of the problem. She's infinitely fucking boring. She has the personality of a dictionary. And she finally finds something, basically ripping off Shayna Baszler and Marina Shafir and all of them. Ripping off the female MMA fighter. She finally finds something that makes people want to see her, not me, but other people. And she threw it away in the vignette. So not only does she not have a personality, not only is she boring as shit, but she's got nothing between her ears. Common sense would have said, I'm not about to kill my brand new gimmick in the vignette. It doesn't take genius to figure that fucking part out, right? I mean, this is the woman who debuted the character, losing to Kenzie Page, that girl from the NWA. When she debuted the character with a loss. Natalya, see you later, man. You need to, whatever business Bayley is in, you need to be the co-pilot on that ship. Bye. See you later. And she's been begging and pleading and down on her knees and prostrating. And oh my God, 5 times a day to the east. Please put Natty on TV. Please put Natty on TV. Please put Natty on TV. And then she did, and she tapped out in the vignette. Man, it's over. She's cooked. She done for. I don't want to see this shit no more. I don't even want to hear about it no more. But I did think that Ivy Nile should have been on this show. And instead of having Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez, it should have been Ivy Nile versus somebody, so that she could put over her bona fides to be the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Just think about that. If they were doing vignettes, putting over Maxine Dupree, and she was killing people in these vignettes, and then the next segment is Ivy Nile, and she's killing somebody in the ring with whatever her submission hold would be, that would be a great story that you could tell. But Ivy Nile basically being nobody, who does nothing, who appears on the show for 15 seconds and then disappears, doesn't do anybody any favors. So I expect Maxine Dupree to come across as being a killer, and they're probably just going to give her the natty gimmick. You might as well just braid her goddamn hair and put her in a singlet, you know. And it won't matter anyway because Kendall Gray is coming. She's coming. And once they started getting Kendall Gray on this TV, Natty's cooked. Maxine is cooked. There's going to be a whole lot of bitches cooked when Kendall Gray gets on the main roster. And look, yes, there's a lot of women in Evolve and NXT who are very good, but whatever. Raw wasn't good. Raw was kind of boring. It is what it is. I mean, it's been this way for a long time. But a dog died, so you don't get to have decent storytelling on your wrestling show. You just get Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Old non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session, but you got an affection for no progression, regression.